Hello all you beautiful people, how you doing today? This is Lava Temptress and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. Hi! Today we're playing another one of the January 2021 Humble Choice games. So this one is Vampire the Masquerade Shadows of New York. So we did try one of the other Vampire the Masquerades, and honestly, I loved it. So I'm excited to try this one. If you haven't seen how I do these before the first looks, basically it's a game I haven't played, and so I based it off the first 30 minutes of the gameplay. Because I believe in the first 30 minutes, you should know whether you're going to love a game or it's just not for you. So after that 30 minutes, then I'm going to tell you what I honestly think of it based just off that first 30 minutes. So sometimes it goes a little bit faster and we don't play as long, and sometimes we play a little bit longer. So it just depends. But that's what we're going to do, so let's get started. So far, like, this loading screen, the art style of it, it's beautiful. Now, if it's anything like the other one, it's very, very story reading based. So welcome to my castle. Don't expect everyday logic to work here. It went out of the window sometime after midnight, maybe earlier. My kingdom is not of this world, you see. It lies far outside of concrete, tangible reality. I've tried to identify the way people reach it, and I'm convinced it has something to do with the moon. Some say the moon's aura can turn them insane. You've heard the phrase, a moonstruck or an lunatic. The way I see it, moonlight gives them subliminal permission to reveal their true selves. And so, whenever they let the silver radiance guide them to the gates of this place, they feel different. Once they pass the doorstep, they're ready to act out. A dance of horrors and marvels begin. It's 3:31 a.m. Welcome to Big Beat Burger. If you're here at this hour, you're not exactly readying up to be a productive member of society come tomorrow morning. More likely, you're praying that the sunrise never comes. I'll try to turn this down as soon as I can. It's a little bit loud. Insatiable children of the night gather round, hoping to bask in the afterglow of tonight's victories, unwind after a frustrating series of failures, or simply fight to keep themselves together. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting here greedily reveling in every interaction they have. They have no idea they are only here for my amusement. To them, I'm just a random girl sitting in the corner. But this is my domain. I've been coming here for almost every night for years. I know where to sit, where to look, and where to eavesdrop for maximum amusement. I'm basically a voyeur, and unashamed to admit it. It gave me insight about the human condition I've never otherwise had gathered, and more importantly, a necessary skill set to make ends meet as a journalist. As I write on my crappy old laptop, patiently waiting for the legion of negative voices in my head to get too tired to offer useless feedback, I keep my senses peeled to pick up stories around me. Of course, a lot of regular events, such as food fights, are nothing to write home about, aside from my unfortunate tendencies to become collateral damage in someone else's battles. Up to this day, I've had to wash my clothes because of Coke, Diet Coke, hot coffee, apple pie, and some sort of improvised honey mustard bomb. Every stain tells a different story. Sometimes this hobby is exhausting. Sometimes it's disturbing. Sometimes it's dangerous, although not as risky as back when I wasn't carrying pepper spray. Still, the sights I've taken in over the years here have made it absolutely worth it. I've got so many stories, I don't know where to begin. Theatrical breakups, impromptu morning parties, unexpected friendships forged in the fire of senseless battle. A lady in a gorgeous Givenchy dress ordering a box of takeout chicken nuggets, paying in cash with her hands completely covered in blood. She was asked if she wants a napkin. She said no. Too thirsty, macho dude shamelessly going for it in the corner. Hushed moaning filling the lobby while everyone around violently fights to act as usual and maintain an illusion of normalcy. A straight-up kung fu fight between a diminutive cashier and some drugged bodybuilder going through a psychotic episode, trying to break all the windows. The big guy left the joint fully convinced he'd KO'd himself, while the service worker was just standing next to him. Seemed proud of his victory, too. A middle-aged hag getting a heart attack after screaming her lungs out not to let Muslims near her food, just because she saw a white girl wearing a hairnet behind the counter. Wow, can we say Karen? A masked couple robbing the restaurant of 30 hamburgers, forcing the employees to cook at gunpoint. Police letters said those were art students reenacting some hipster book they read. Wow. This is life. This is humanity at its worst and best. This is the noise that serves as the fountains for my creativity. This is the soma that keeps me going. This is... As pathetic as it may sound, these days, this is the only place where I feel alive. Sometimes I think of myself as a leech, feeding on these people's stories, emotions, and personalities just because I'm not satisfied with mine. At times I think of my psyche as some kind of shitty postmodern construct that is fundamentally incapable of honesty, but only yearns for something felt and truthful. Does this even make sense? I look at the screen of my laptop, 3:47 a.m. At this point, I'm almost somnambulic, but nothing interesting has happened yet. Feels like all the customers are watching over each other tonight, hoping for the others to provide a fun diversion. This is my turf, you parasitic douchebags. Next time, go find your own. Think it's time to call it a night. The coffee I always order so that they don't kick me out is undrinkable. Ugh. I reread the rough draft I've been working on for the last 6 hours. So this must be Julia. God damn, this is pure trash. I hold the backspace button until the Google Documents page is nothing but a calm white slate and let out a sigh of deep relief. There's no pleasure more intoxicating for a frustrated writer than raging on someone even worse than them. And what target is easier than the dumb bitch you used to be 10 minutes ago? I checked the time again. I need to go. I have an important meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m., and I have a hunch it's not going to end well. And it's not because I'm an irresponsible dumbass who's going to need a few cups of coffee to simply function on a basic level, despite, 4 hours of sleep. It's because I always have a hunch that things are not going the way they're supposed to. Click, clack, click, click, clack. The loud clatter of keyboard assaults me from all sides, makes the splitting headache unbearable. Used to be, I dreamed of nothing else but being part of the New York Lodestar editorial team. It was the first magazine I started reading regularly, the first magazine I ever bought for myself. Now simply hearing the word Lodestar is enough to ruin my mood. Never mind seeing all these old farts phoning in more reactionary opinion columns and Wikipedia-level analysis of current events. Click, clack, click, click, clack. They used to destroy and rebuild my entire worldview every month. They shaped my thinking about politics, art, journalism. They even pointed me towards my favorite cigarette brand, for God's sake. Then some talented people started leaving for greener pastures. Some got too wrapped up in their own neuroses. Some became complacent. All of them committed the sin of allowing themselves to grow older. Fresh blood was deemed unnecessary, even though young freelancers kept being bled dry. These days, whenever someone from outside Lodestar talks about Lodestar, it's because of a few idealistic contributors willing to accept meager pay while putting in serious work. Dumbasses. Other than that, the magazine specializes in publishing pale echoes of provocative ideas I heard somewhere else a few years prior, wrapped in an aesthetic that hasn't been cutting edge for a decade. No wonder the readership is in free fall. But even though the ship is sinking, the old guard won't let it go down without a fight. As in, if anyone from the outside attempts to board the vessel in hopes of fixing its course or its holes, they will be swiftly taken care of. I should know. Been there, done that. As it stands, the only full-time staff member who doesn't make me regularly attempt to cringe my face off with his writing must be Brian. Is Lodestar Editor-in-Chief Brian NG, the man sitting in front of me right now. Of course, he only has time for editorials these days. A drop in the sea of needs. Managerial duties hit him hard. What? Okay, didn't mean to do that. Whatever, let's do this. Brian, the guy is guilty of major fraud. Man is a sexual harasser. You're protecting the plate. I don't know. I accidentally skipped it. So, Brian, my article isn't even something like lashing out at the rich and hoping they don't hit back. I think double spiral investors would appreciate being told they're being scammed. That's if, and that's a big if, they're not a conscious part of the scam. Oh, come on. And even if they weren't, I doubt they'd be generous enough to protect us from the fallout. Well, anytime I hit something in here, it goes back, so... Like, even if I... See, it's still trying to hit buttons. So I don't like that because we just skipped part of the story. So... interesting. Oh. Okay, so there is a log, apparently. Wow, how did we skip that much? Holy crap. Okay, so... It's the second time he lets out a theatrical cough like this. He said his piece. Now it's up for me to react, and I'm coming up blank. But what do you want me to say, Brian? I'm pissed off. I can't tell you've already made up your mind, but you still want to go through the motions just to make me feel listened to. Whatever. Let's do this. Brian, my article isn't even something like lashing out at the rich and hoping they don't hit back. I think Double Spiral's investors would appreciate being told they're being scammed. That is, and that's a big if, they're not a conscious part of the scam. Oh, come on. And even if they weren't, I doubt they'd be generous enough to protect us from the fallout. You're avoiding the core of the issue. No, I believe I've pinpointed it in a precise way. If it were up to me, I'd greenlight the article here and now, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But you're killing the article, just because some rich shithead told you he doesn't like it. Get real. This is not about some millionaire jerk calling me to make me an offer I can't refuse. What is it about then? Because it looks awfully like it's about my bosses telling me the outlet can't afford the legal action we have already been threatened with. So, millionaire interference? Oh, for crying out loud, Julia, don't make me treat you like a child. You know how this works. I publish your story. It's Theo versus Gawker all over again. A lawsuit here, a lawsuit there, until we're bled dry. I have a mortgage. I have 3 mouths waiting to be fed at home. I have an amazing team that doesn't deserve to be torn apart over some... Don't you think it's telling you mentioned your mortgage first? Silence. Just asking questions. I know better than to get into these empty semantic arguments with you, Miss Sawinski. You're good at them. The problem is you're still not good enough. Meaning, you're too in love with weaving a good story and establishing a seductive narrative to let facts get in the way. I've got enough of boring Swedes with no principles on board these days. They'll always give you facts because that's all they can do. I'm using facts as a way to approach some kind of truth. Except facts can blindside you, and Double Spiral has enough facts to water down your story to the point where it makes no sense to publish it. The HR and PR are working overtime to deliver a convincing counter-narrative, and they're doing a great job. Won't mitigate the damage completely, but will put everything in question. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Julia, let me say it again. Jesse Montgomery is a racist, a fraud, a sexual predator, and a downright satanic fuckhead. Do you personally believe it or not? This is not. You've listened to the tapes, you've read the transcripts, you've seen the documents. You've got the files. I'm asking for your personal opinion. Do you believe it or not? Click, clack, click, 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 clack, click. Of course I do, but that's besides the point. It's not. How about I say it out loud and save us both some time? We're not having this conversation because there's an actual conversation to be had. You set up this meeting knowing very damn well there's only one way it's going to end. You've got a mortgage and 3 mouths to feed. You prioritize the well-being of your direct surroundings over some nebulous concepts of greater good. I get it. I really do. Yet for some reason it seems like you're only prolonging this conversation and rationalizing your decisions so that I forgive you? Officially exonerate you? I'm not the bad guy here, Julia. And that gets us up here. So what are you? So what are you then, in your own words? I'm just not in the mood to read. Fucking ambiance. Okay, it's a little bit better. God, that was loud. I don't know if I want to read any more of this. Let's see if we skip ahead. Is it just going to be reading the whole time? The last one at least had some good stuff in between. This is just, let's just say, is that final? We're just gonna skip through all this. God, that's a lot of reading. I mean, I don't mind a good story, but shit, if I wanted to do this much reading, I'll go read a book. This isn't even... Like, the storyline is boring me so far. The other one was at least vampires and interesting shit. This one... Okay. I'm just gonna call it here. I know it's 10 minutes short, but I'm trying to sit here and skip through it, see if we have, you know, some kind of cutscene or something. But no, it's just a whole bunch of fucking reading. And I don't know. I'm just not in the mood for it. A game like this, you just really have to be in the mood for it. I'm not in the mood for it. The other one, like I said, it had cutscenes. It had a very interesting storyline. This one sounds like your typical run-of-the-mill journalist trying to run a story that nobody will let it run because, you know, it'll piss off all the wrong people, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story, right? So this one, I'm honestly bored with. I'm so bored with this, and I don't even want to read through all of it, and I was trying to skip through it and see if, you know, maybe there would be some kind of cool cutscene or something, but we're still sitting here staring at the same picture, and yeah, like I said, if I wanted to read something, I'd go pick up a book and read it, or at least on my iPad. I mean, and I love reading. But this storyline it's old. It's a very, very old storyline, you know. They need to get good. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. If you've gotten further, the story gets better, let me know. But for me, I'm gonna uninstall this. I just can't be bothered. Who wants to sit here and read all of this? I mean, it doesn't even seem to go along with the other one. Like, what? I don't know. But for me, it's a no. I'm uninstalling it. This one is just, not my thing. And I was so hopeful for this too. I was excited because I thought it would be similar to the first one. And it's not. But that's going to be it for me today. If you haven't already, make sure and hit that subscribe button with the notification bell, because then you can see when the new videos come out. Alright, until next time, this is Lava Temptress. Don't get burned. Bye!